Welcome to Social Psychology Online. I am Dr. Williams, and I will be your instructor for this semester class. And the purpose of this podcast is really just to orient you to what is located here in this Start Here tab. This is the first stop. So if you're here, you're in the right spot. This is what you should go over and look through fully before you go on to Module 1. You're going to see these modules here on my screen, but you won't see those pop up on your screen until the day I make them available. So when you're starting off in the class in the beginning, you're going to have access to the Start Here menu and as well as Module 1, which will contain chapters 1 and 2 materials. You'll also have access to the My Grades, which keeps track of everything that you do in the class, any announcements, as well as Plato help and resources, which is where you should go if you're having any issues with the Plato platform. You can't get in, it's not taking your password, anything like that, you would go there. And then the Communications tab, if you click into there, you're going to find my email information as well as a student lounge where you can post questions to one another. If they're common questions, I suggest you post there. If you have a more personal question, you can email me directly. But so you're here in the Start Here menu. And here I just put a picture of myself with John Quinones. He is just one of my favorites. I've watched many What Would You Do episodes, and a lot of them are based in social psych. So when I met him at a conference, I just had to get a picture. So that one's in there just for fun. But you will be actually watching some of the What Would You Do videos. They're embedded in the Revel software that comes with your textbook. And so as you're reading through the chapters, you're going to see little stopping points where you can watch videos, and some of those are the What Would You Do videos. And they'll often put people in scenarios, and the goal is to really see how they would react. And a lot of it is social perception, social cognition, stereotyping, prejudice, things like that, that we're going to be talking about in the class. So I give you a little to-do list just in terms of what to get acquainted with and familiar with right off the bat. Now, all of this stuff you should be looking to do in the very first day. Because this is a quick moving class, I say it's a semester class because it is, but the caveat is that we're doing a semester literally in 2 weeks. So it's really fast. I can't even underscore that enough. Really, really fast how this class moves. We're basically covering 2 chapters every 2 days. And so I really want you to take time in the very first day of class and make sure that you've got everything, that you've looked at everything very clearly and very, in detail, making sure you're not going to miss anything or don't have something that's necessary for you to dig right in and get started on the material. So every module will include an introductory sort of podcast to the chapters. So if we go into Module 1, when you click in here, right away the number 1 item is going to be listen to the podcast. And that's where I'm just going to kind of spell out for you things to be on the lookout for in the chapters, things that you should be paying attention to, and main concepts that we're going to be covering. And that's going to be a really good way for me to communicate with you all as a class. Since this is an online class, we're not meeting face to face, so some of that communication is really important. So don't be skipping the podcast, or you're going to be skipping important information that you're not going to hear otherwise. Look at everything that I've listed in this kind of getting started menu. I would suggest printing out the course syllabus. You're going to find that below in just a moment. But I would actually print it out and have it next to you. It's really handy. It's got the calendar of when everything is due. Pay very close attention to due dates. I would highlight them so that nothing comes up as a surprise to you. But if ever you're in question, you can always email me. about anything. You should already have or be purchasing your textbooks. Again, the class runs very fast. There isn't time to delay in getting your books. In a normal semester, sometimes students delay 1 to 2 to even 3 weeks. This class is done in 12 days, so you don't have time to waste. I had put up information about this class beforehand, before the class was available, so that you would see what textbooks were required. So Plato CIT office for Westfield State has the course info page for this class, and there's all the textbook info listed. So there really shouldn't be any reason why you don't already have your textbooks. Logging on to Revel is important. Revel is the software that comes with the textbook. Pearson is the publisher that makes those. And Revel is just really a software suite for students that's designed to give you ancillary materials and study materials, such as practice tests. It has the e-text. You can listen to the audio of every chapter, which is really handy if you're an auditory learner. I would suggest doing that. So not only just reading it visually, but also listening to it is very helpful. But all the info that you're going to need is here. Your textbook comes packaged with a Revel access code if you buy it from the WSU bookstore. And then you would additionally need this course invite link, which links you to my class specifically. So make sure that you're getting that and looking at that. Spend time going through Revel. This is a whole nother aside. You're going to want to spend a little bit of time just getting acquainted with the Revel platform, just like Plato. It's got its own little ins and outs that you'll want to get used to, and just to see what's there. But basically for every chapter, there are practice quizzes and a practice test. And those are only available for a certain amount of time. Once you've taken a test for a chapter on Plato in our class, you're not going to see it anymore in Revel. So it's meant to be there for you beforehand. That being said, I'm not going to be looking at any of the Revel tests. They're there just for you, not for me. You'll have to excuse my coughing. I am sick right now. So I'm straining really hard to get through this podcast. So excuse me if I do cough. So if we're working on down here, you're going to see I've posted a bio about myself. I would also like you all to post just a short bio in the student lounge. So if we go back up here into communications, you're going to click on there and you'll find once you're inside there, there's a student lounge, and you'll click inside student lounge and you'll just post your bio. And basically in your bio, you're going to tell me a little bit about you using 3 words that would best describe you. And any other info or details you want to share would be great. If you have a picture, that would be great. Again, this is an online class, so we don't necessarily see each other face to face. So it's always nice. So take a look at mine, and you can kind of get an idea of maybe what you want to write. Mine's a lot longer. Obviously, I'm your instructor. I don't expect yours to be long. Short and sweet is good, but maybe more than a sentence, so that we can get to know you a little bit. Here is the syllabus. Please look it over. Very important. Everything's in there. It's like your Bible for this class. It's got all the details. It spells it all out. So don't miss anything. And again, if you have any questions as you go through that syllabus, please let me know. Here are the textbooks for the class. And you'll notice that I have a PDF of the first and second chapters of the old edition. They're not too different. Some slight updates and things like that. I do this for copyright reasons, but if you're struggling and you don't have the book quite yet, this will get you through the first 2 days, essentially, of the class. Actually, I think it's the first 3 days until we move on to chapter 3. So it's a full PDF of both chapters, and you can get started in your reading. But here is the newest edition that you'll need, 14th edition, Branscombe and Barron. And here's the access code card that comes packaged with the book and all the information about that there. I've also put more information about logging into Revel, which is the access code online that you'll need. Here's information including a rubric that you'll want to click on this and print it out of how to post to the discussion board. So if this is your first online class, you're going to realize that the discussion boards are a very large portion, half to be exact, of your grade. So writing on these boards is essential, and writing correctly using proper grammar and English and checking and spelling, punctuation, all that stuff is super important. And also what is said is important content. Showing me that you know the material, that you're using it in an informative way, that you're pulling in concepts from the readings to answer the questions for each module is what I want to see. But basically all of that is said in the discussion board rubric, so you'll want to look that over before you go to make those first posts. And in your posts, what you're doing is you're responding to the questions I've posed for a particular article and chapter, and that's your original post. And then once everyone in the class has made those original posts, you're going to go in and you're going to read those, and you're going to look for 3 to comment on. And so you're going to be commenting on 3 people's posts, and your comments need to be detailed. Not just I agree because or I don't agree because, but rather pulling in new ideas and content material from the readings to show me how you're extending the dialogue in those discussions is important. Here's some instructions on how to cite as you're writing, how to cite your sources. If you're pulling from the chapter, or you're pulling from one of the readings, you want to show me where you're getting that information. So you need to do that correctly, and that's all here. I've also put some other resources in here for you, various things that might be helpful, especially if this is your first online class. You might want to check those out, APA format, note-taking, test-taking, and then, of course, all the WSU policies that I follow to a T, as well as any downloads you might need for your computer in order to play and open different windows and programs. So that's basically it for the Start Here menu. You'll notice that when you go to Module 1, I'm going to have another podcast there for you that's going to detail what Module 1 is all about, so you'll want to check that out. But for now, this should get you started. And again, you should be doing this all Tuesday, the very first Tuesday of the class, which is the 2nd of January. Happy New Year, by the way. And really just taking that day to get acquainted and even start reading. You don't want to delay. This class is going to be like a full-time job for the next 2 weeks. You can pretty much expect that to be the case. So it shouldn't be something that you're just cramming in a few hours, each day. But I mean, really, you're spending quite a bit of time each day on this class for 12 days. And that's to be expected because it's a 15-week class that you're taking in 2 weeks. So that should get you started. And then your next stop should be on to Module 1. Okay, I hope we all have a great semester. I look forward to getting to know you all, and welcome to the class again.